Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, the Dolphins get a big victory versus the Jets at home and make the playoffs with a little bit of help from our neighbors up north. The Heat have a very successful West Coast road trip, but suffered a controversial loss at home versus the Nets. Matthew Tkachuk gets named the All-Star for the Panthers as they've won 2 out of their last 3 and get ready for the second half of the season. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go! All right, before we get started, you know that this mission continues. If you haven't already, make sure to head over to our YouTube channel. We just dropped a lot of content on there today yesterday and today, and go check it out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment, let us know what you're doing if you haven't already. We're on that road to 500 subscribers, y'all. Make sure to join us. And now I'm gonna bring in Joel, who's not on camera today.
Not on the old tube,
no,
per se. But I'm here. I'm here
he shaved half his face.
If we have any, let me know. Listen, if you guys listen to the show on podcast platforms, traditional podcast platforms, whether it's Google, Spotify, iTunes, let me know. Let us know in the comments, on our latest post, whichever one you're hearing this on. Hey, I listen to the show on this platform, because I don't know, but that's why I'm doing this for you guys. I'm not doing it for the video, for the YouTube guys. That's what your mug is for today.
Thanks, bro.
But no, we're trying to get it out there. So, unfortunately, we're a little limited on our capabilities. So
for sure,
we want to get you guys the YouTube episode, the YouTube viewers, the episode, so that they can at least have us talking about whatever's going on.
And frankly, if we're being honest, man, we got a lot of stuff that we're working on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? We've had a very busy weekend. We had the interview with Kevin Gleason up in Sunrise. Shout out to Kev, man, for letting us in. Stay Ready Athletics. If you haven't already, check them out on Instagram. Man, this guy's doing big work in that boxing fight world community. So
interviews dropping on Friday.
Yes, sir. Coming out. We had the OnlyFans, right? Big celebration of us making the playoffs. Continuing to do the podcast today, and we got a big week ahead of us as well. So always busy over here at Sports with SoSo, man.
It's nonstop, bro.
I mean, what's that line say? It's a rolling, not a clock watch. Bitch, it don't stop. Wow. Something like that. Butchered it, but I'm not a rapper. I'm not a rapper.
It's really not a stopwatch.
There it is, There it is. Let's talk about that, man. Let's get into this Dolphins victory, right? The Dolphins get a big win at home versus the Jets. A lot of people had a lot of questions. Dolphins fans specifically had a lot of questions about this team, and mainly what Skylar Thompson was going to be able to do, right? We knew that Armstead was going to be out. We knew that there was another, a couple other guys that were going to be missing this game. But ultimately, we knew that we had to win that game. And it was an ugly game. If you watched it from front to back like you and I did, bro, you know that shit was an ugly, ugly game. And that's what we expected, if we're being honest, right?
No, absolutely. It was a dogfight. What was the final score? 12-6?
11-6.
11-6.
Right.
There you go.
Very weird.
Tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, definitely. But even when watching the game, dog, right? As I'm taking my notes, getting ready for OnlyFans, make sure to go check that out. I'm looking at the game and I'm thinking to myself, bro, this is gonna be one of those ugly, ugly games, right? Where both teams are gonna look bad. Neither one of them is really gonna take the opportunity when it presents itself. And that's exactly what we saw, man. Like the one good thing that I would say, as far as watching the game from a Dolphins fan and being entertained, was the running game. We saw the emergence of our running game and what it could look like, even in the worst of situations.
It wasn't the emergence of it. We've seen it already.
Really,
but not enough, and that's what we've been talking about all season long.
Right.
The fact that we haven't had this leads to Tua throwing the ball 40, 50 times, and that's where injuries happen.
Yeah.
But yes, it was nice to see him change the game plan going into this game, knowing we didn't have Tua, knowing we didn't have Teddy, going with the rookie in a game which is win or go home. It's nice to see McDaniel adjust the run game and put the ball on the ground, 27 times?
Yeah.
With 3 different running backs?
Well, more than that, because other guys got carries, right? Arman had that big carry, but between Wilson and Mostert, both of those guys were extremely productive on Sunday. Extremely.
I got bad news.
Yeah, hit the fans up with that bad news, brother.
Well, Raheem Mostert ran really well that game, but he suffered a broken thumb. So he is out potentially in this game.
Potentially. We don't know.
I mean, the running back needs his thumb. How you need to grip the ball, dog.
Exactly. And that's kind of the same thing that we were talking about with Teddy. How quickly he's going to be able to recover from a fractured, broken finger in order to grip it and throw it.
Pinky's very important.
No. So we know it's either going to be Tua returning, right? Or Skyler's getting one more chance to start and getting an opportunity to start a playoff game.
But you just said something there that there's question marks around. And I want to ask you, do you think Tua clears concussion protocol in time for him to play in this game? Because that's right now what is going on right now with the Tua situation.
It's so tough, right? Because like if you really look at it from a human perspective, right? From a human perspective, you're like, yeah, maybe this guy shouldn't play this game, right? And not because of the long-term damage, whatever. It's still fresh. Still fresh. You've already suffered 3 concussions in the year. It's like, that might be, you've given enough to the team, right? You've given more than your body, bro. You've given way more than that. So maybe it's not fair of us, right, as Dolphins fans to ask Tua to come back. That's the human side of it. Now, if you're looking at X's and O's, game planning, all this stuff, you're trying to tell yourself, okay, I'm in this tournament. I need to make the best of it. How can I give myself and my team the best chance to win and advance, right? Because that's the whole thing. You win, you advance.
Right.
You got to look at Tua in that same light and say, damn, this is the dude that helps us become even more dangerous to a team like Buffalo, to a team like Cincinnati, to a team like Baltimore, whoever we would have faced in the playoffs, right? To say, all right, I got my best guy out there in that critical position that is quarterback. Do I think he makes it? Right now, being Monday, what time is it, bro? 6:37. No, I don't think he plays. Now, if by and McDaniel came out and had he still hasn't cleared level 3, level 4, level 5.
What can you give a little context as to what that means?
Yes, of course. So now with the NFL concussion protocol, right, there are certain levels that has to be cleared by the doctors, right? Mainly the neurologist, which is specializing in the brain trauma. And he has to make sure that he clears those 5 levels, and each one of those levels have different tests, right? One of them might be a memory test. The other one might be put a certain, tell us where you were on this date type thing. And each step progressively shows you that, all right, this person is more and more conscious. They start to remember things that had happened from that game or since then. Tua hasn't got there yet. He's still on that 3rd level. And he would need to clear that 5th level in order to be eligible to play on Sunday, 1:00 against the Bills. Will he make it in time? I don't know.
Yeah,
but meantime, sorry to cut you off, but meantime, he can't even practice because he still hasn't cleared it.
Right, and that was my next question was if he clears, on Friday, that doesn't give him any time to practice. Would you play a rusty 2-week Tua that's coming off of a concussion, or do you keep going with who, as of today and tomorrow, right now, Skyler's going to be taking the first team snaps and practices. So that's going to be a big decision for Mike McDaniel.
Huge. I'm so glad I'm not the one making that decision.
I think a lot of it rides on the decision being made before Wednesday.
For sure. Or even Thursday.
As far as
you can make
clearing
the decision Thursday, right?
Because, I don't know if that's enough time, so.
Well, what really changes?
A full day of practice.
Yes, but let's look at it from, again, X's and O's, right? The playbook with Tua is the playbook. The full playbook. Because this dude has mastered every single level of it. That's the full playbook. So if we know that Tua is going to play, we know that everything's on the table as far as play calling goes. Right? Now, does Tua need that much extra time to prepare for a team that he's going to be seeing for the 3rd time? Probably not. Probably not. He probably has a ton of film, tons of personal notes that he's taken, right, from his film studies and stuff like that against the Bills to see what he can improve on, what they do defensively and whatnot. So I don't think Tua needs that extra day of practice to get ready for Buffalo. Skyler, on the other hand, he may need it. But we also know that if Skyler's going to be the one starting, then we know that playbook is getting reduced, significantly. Because even on Sunday in the game, we heard the announcers saying that, this is the 4th time they run this play. This is the 3rd time. This is the 5th time they run this play. That just shows you how limited we were when it came to play calling, right, with Skyler, which is okay because like we talked about earlier, we relied on the running game, 27 carries between our two big dogs, and they ended up getting 143 yards as a team, as a duel, right? Awesome day running the ball. And it really allowed us to control the flow of the game, the clock, right? Time of possession and play the field advantage game, which ultimately led us to win the game.
And some big field goals.
And some huge field goals by Jason Sanders. And a lot of people, including you and I, we wrote him off this year because we saw him go, not wrote him off, but we just saw the inconsistency in his game.
Yeah,
dog.
I wouldn't say we wrote him off. We were just underwhelmed and disappointed with his, lack of performance when we needed him. Easy points.
Yeah. And look, he's had a tough season this season. It's been tough for him. I don't doubt that. And I'm sure he can admit that as well. But for him to score not all of those points, but just score 9 points, hit that game-winning field goal, 50-yarder, when we've seen him struggle, right, outside of 45 yards, that was major. That was major for him and his confidence, right? And even for the confidence of the team to say, all right, we can rely on Jason if we do make it a close game against Buffalo. And even, the team's confidence has to be really sky high. You break a 5-game losing streak, right? You make the playoffs. Tua's healthy. Nobody really got injured that game. Snell got hurt, but we don't know what his level of availability is going to be for Sunday. I'm sure he'll be playing or at least available. Man, you have to be feeling positive, Mike McDaniel won his fucking first challenge as a coach. Like, those are all things that you can look at when you break down the film and as a team and say, yo, we did well. We didn't lose a turnover battle, right? Our rookie kept us in the game. Our defense held up when they needed to, made some big stops, made some big sacks. Chris Wilkins is my, I swear, he's my MVP for the season. That guy is like, it's incredible how much energy he plays with, how much strength he plays with. And when you look back at the film, the impact that dude was having on defense, him and Ziegler, that 1-2 combo is nasty, bro.
Nah, it's a 1-2-3. Like, most guys have a 1-2 combo. We have a 1-2-3, bro, between
him and Phillips. Yeah, those
Wilkins
guys are killing
it. I mean, those guys are playing amazing, man. Even though they're not, they could be getting to the quarterback a little bit more, but
true.
I think guys are just game planning to that, stacking the line and making sure they're double teaming all of these guys so that they can't get through. But one thing I wanted to ask you though is, you're saying that the Dolphins should feel confident after a win, which is, it's logical, especially snapping a losing streak like that. But if we're going in there with our backup rookie who showed us this week, we can't really get into the end zone.
True.
Do you think that against a Buffalo team, a performance like this week is going to get it done?
No, it won't. If just bluntly, it's not going to get it done. We can't play like this and go into Buffalo and even think that we have a chance. And you know what? If Skyler does start, I feel like he should feel free to throw the ball however the hell he sees fit. If you want to sling in downfield, bro, this is the game to go for it. If they're going to play with no safety over the top, one safety over the top because they're trying to put all that pressure on you, sling it, bro. Because this is your, I don't want to say it's your last opportunity, but who knows, man? You probably won't start a playoff game again for what, another 3 years, 4 years? If things go right for the Dolphins. So if I'm Skyler, I'm telling myself, bro, just go for it. Go for it this game. Feel confident. The guys are behind you. Nobody's going to blame you if we lose this game and the season ends. Like, you're not the cause of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it'll suck to lose the game and be the starting quarterback, but this season isn't on Skyler. And us losing in the playoffs wouldn't be on Skyler, regardless of how the game ends. Even if he throws a pick six to end the game. Like, I still wouldn't put that on Skyler because, like, you know what? He shouldn't have even been there. Tua should have been healthy enough. That should have been the guy in there. So I feel like, Skyler should be playing with house money, basically, man, when it comes to that. So I feel confident. I think the team feels confident in him. If you saw the clips that the Dolphins posted after the game, McDaniel's talking to the team, and when he shouted out Skyler, locker went wild, man, because they know how hard it is for that kid to do what he did that game, and they stepped up. The defense needed a game like this where it's like, you know what? Yeah, we're facing an old quarterback, but we're not going to let this guy light us up, And again, I can't say enough about Wilkins, bro. 6 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, broke his own record from last year by 4. last year had 88 tackles. This year had 92 tackles. So like probably the most in 25 years as a defensive tackle.
Progressively gets better every season.
Every season, you know. And then again, we just saw everything happen when it needed to happen for the Dolphins, in my opinion, you know. And even something cool that I saw during the game. It was the first time since week 9 of 1993, damn near 20 years ago, bro, 30 years ago, that both starting QBs were rocking the number 19, dog. Chiefs and the Dolphins were playing that day. It was Joe Montana and the Chiefs versus Miami Dolphins. And I think the quarterback was, what's his name, dog? Damn it, I had it. Scott Mitchell. Crazy, dog. Crazy. Yeah, man. Now we get the matchup that we wanted. We're in the playoffs. Obviously, we didn't want to be the number 7 seed. We would have preferred and had a chance to be in a higher seed, right? Now we got to face the Bills at home on a Sunday. I don't know, man. That Mostert injury kind of killed us a little bit, right? Because that broken thumb may be an issue for him to carry the ball. Still no word from McDaniels whether or not Tua is going to be available. I know that in the press conference he had this afternoon, addressing the media, he mentioned that as a team, they're going to have to produce game plans for all 3 quarterbacks to say, and then once Friday comes, when it's time to make the decision to say, all right, this is our starter, then they'll have the most information and the game plan will be ready for that, whatever the decision may be. That's why when you asked me earlier, I think McDaniel would be doing himself injustice if he didn't game plan for all 3 quarterbacks. You know, and the fact that he mentioned it today shows you that's where we're at. You know, we're very uncertain in that position. Everything else is pretty much certain. We know that Armstead is gonna play, whether you got to put him out there on a dolly and strap him into it, right? Still better probably than whatever any other guy you put in his position.
What's his name? Eric Little?
Yeah. I hope that Connor has a better game than he did this game, because he had like 4 bad snaps that could have killed Skylar Thompson. One of them did kill the drive where we had a potential touchdown. I don't know. We're going to have to play clean football. And I don't know if this team is capable of playing clean football for 48 minutes. I don't know. Not 48 minutes, whatever. An hour. However long a football game is, 15-minute quarters.
3 hours.
3 hours. Football time. Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. It's an hour of football on the field.
Hey, man. On this very show, a couple weeks ago, we were questioning the Dolphins' future.
We were.
The team, the team's future, certain players' futures and all that. We still made the playoffs. We still are, but, I mean, you still are. For me, for right now, it's a matter of Sunday. That's all that matters right now. Nothing else matters right now but Sunday. We haven't been in the playoffs since 2016 when we lost.
Yeah.
First round exit. We don't want that to happen, at least not in that fashion. If it's a good game with Buffalo and Buffalo beats us, I can live with that.
Right.
But if they go and they dog us, then that's when people go, the Dolphins didn't deserve being there.
That's a tougher pill to swallow.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Well, maybe they're right, Joel, because sneaking into the playoffs is one thing that we did not want to do, right? When we set up our goals for this team early on in the season on the podcast, one of the main things that we talked about was don't sneak into the freaking playoffs. Have some momentum into the playoffs where you give yourself a legitimate shot of winning the game versus whoever you face. We're 1-6, 1-5 in our last 6 games heading into the playoffs. That's not the momentum that we wanted to carry. Now, granted, the goal was still the same. Make the playoffs first, then be competitive. We accomplished step 1. Are we going to be able to accomplish step 2? A lot of that depends on where the Tua's going to play, dog. And right now, we just don't know it. I'm hopeful, really. I'm sure if you ask Tua, he's dying to play. I'm sure he was dying to play on Sunday, right? We saw that picture of him in the tunnel and that video of him hugging all the players and shit when they were coming off the field after the big win. Him and Mostert there, just enjoying that with their teammates, I'm sure Tua wants to play on Sunday. Will he? Doubtful. If he doesn't play, I don't expect us to win. I expect us to keep it relatively close. But that also depends on Skylar, stepping up and taking his chances, man. Why not, dog? Take the chances. Because I know I can specifically off the top of my head, man, remember 2 plays, right? Where one of them was in the second half. I think it was mid third quarter or like late third quarter, where he took the snap and he saw Tyreek Hill. There was that one-on-one with the safety, and then he started going like towards the outer like sideline, and Skyler looked like he wanted to throw it, held onto it, and hit a check down. That's okay for that Jets game because that was a defensive battle type game. Don't make the big mistake. In this game versus Buffalo, where you're on the road and you're the underdog and you got nothing to lose, everything to gain, you need to throw that ball and give your guy a chance. And even Tyreek Hill, we talked about it on OnlyFans. He looked half speed. He looked like he was still nursing an ankle injury, right? And coming off the field for an extended period and then coming back on. Will he be as healthy? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know yet. It's Monday, right? I don't know yet how to feel as far as confidence-wise with this team because there's still a lot of left to be discovered or to be found out and solidified. Who's playing at quarterback? Is Armstead playing? Who's playing the other lineman spot? Is Mostert going to line up? Who's out for Buffalo? Right? It's tough, man. Buffalo's playing with a lot of emotion right now, dude. A lot of emotion. Emotion.
And shout out to Mark Hamlin. He just got sent home.
Yeah, man.
He got discharged.
Yeah, man. Love to see that. You know, these guys are people first. You know, they're humans first, man. So anytime we get to see somebody suffer something and come out of it, man, that's always good news and positive vibes, you know?
It's not going to be easy, man, but we're in the playoffs, baby.
So now that we're in the playoffs, let's talk about it. Give me your predictions.
Oh, man. I'm gonna ride the delusional Dolphin train because we just won. So I'm back on the train.
Okay.
We're gonna win this game. We're gonna win this game 24-23.
Wow, that's high scoring, man. I feel like if we do win this game, it's gonna be 20-17. 20-17 if we win this game. I'm not thinking
defense. We need defense.
We need a defensive touchdown and one touchdown from Skyler. That could be enough to win the game. And I feel like Jason is going to go out there and hit a banger. You know, might not be a 50-yarder, but he's going to go out there and hit a banger, man. And even with the Dolphins, bro, we got a lot of stuff planned for them. We're going to do an OnlyFans, obviously, for the playoff game. And we're going to have a special guest. So make sure to tune in for that. Should we announce a special guest? Hold it down.
Whatever you want to do, dog. Up to you. Yeah.
Why not, man? The special guest is Allie Goodman, a.k.a. Dolph Freaky. She is the Miami Dolphins Super Fan of the Year for 2022. And she's going to be heading to the Super Bowl representing the Miami Dolphins. And we can't wait to have her on the show. Shout out to Empire Boutique, where we're going to be hosting the interview. And it's going to be a dope vibe, man. Martin's going to be there. It's going to be a big production. So, like I said earlier, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like, drop a comment, because OnlyFans is going to be bringing you that amazing content, man. And hopefully a Dolphins victory, right? Let's get
Hopefully, baby. Hopefully we're talking about Dolphins victory in the next round of the playoffs instead of a recap of the
season. Yeah. Let's see. Let's be hopeful. That's
all we can be.
For sure. A team I still have hope for, right, is the Miami Heat. What a impressive West Coast trip they had, man. Honestly, they didn't win as many games as I wanted to, right? I would have liked to see them win, but they did get big victories. And by big victories, I mean, not necessarily against big opponents, but just being in the game, having the opportunity to win the game and closing it out. I knew that West Coast trip would have really either solidified the Heat as a team that's up and coming, right? Like getting their bearings together, getting healthier, putting guys in position to say, all right, this is your role. This is what we need from you. You play a little bit of defense. You shoot the three when it comes to you. And it ultimately was, bro. And, you know, starting that road trip against a tough team in like Denver, where we talked about it, right? And losing that game and then turning that into a positive experience. I felt like the Heat did exactly what they aimed to do on that West Coast road trip. You know, you get the big victory against Utah. You get the big victory against the Clippers. You lose a whack game to the Lakers, but then you follow to the Lakers, and then you follow it up, right, with a win against Phoenix.
No LeBron either on that Lakers.
That would have been 4 out of 5 on that West Coast road trip. 4 out of 5, right? Now, yeah, when we look back at it, that Lakers loss is going to suck, right? That Lakers loss is going to suck because it's like you said, no LeBron, no AD. Who's the other third scorer that's been playing really well for them? Lonnie Walker. You know, and then the Heat, for whatever reason, just gave that game away, you know? But I want to, like, last year at this point, the Heat were 26-15. And everybody was super confident on the Heat, right? It was like, well, shit, we've put some good streaks together. We've looked good against our true rivals as far as making it to the conference finals. This year, you know, 21-20. And even though we've won 9 out of our last 14 games, right? Even though we've won 9 out of our last 14 games.
Trending.
We're trending in the right direction. It still doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. Does that make sense? Like, it feels like there's still something missing from the team.
Sure, because nothing has changed. I mean, just because you win a couple more games and your win percentage goes up a little bit, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that now we're all of a sudden a playoff contender.
For sure.
It still feels like, you know, unless from here to the playoffs, something happens with somebody's performance or another level is unlocked or something like that, you know, we still feel like there's something missing. And who knows? Maybe it's Victor Oladipo. He's been playing very well as of late.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was missing early on in the season when we were losing. We didn't know when he was going to come back. And then since he's come back, we started doing a little bit better. So maybe it could be him. Maybe it's a move. Maybe it's a trade later on. Maybe it's our young guys, Tyler Hero and Bam, keeping, you know,
the pace
on what they're doing night in and night out.
For sure.
It's a lot of questions, but I get what you mean. Yeah, there still feels like there's something missing.
For sure, because like if you think about it, the problems still remain, right? You look at that Clippers game, had an 18-point lead in the third quarter, blew it. You know, recovered it in the fourth thanks to good defense, right, where we really clamped down. But in that third quarter, Paul George was able to just light us up. The guy hit like 4 threes in a row. And nobody...
That guy's a scorer.
He is, but still, like, you know, we called 2 timeouts in that span where they came back and closed out that lead, right? That's the shit that I'm like, damn, bro. Like, if we have a lead, let's keep the lead. Maybe maybe you're not going to win every game by 18 points or keep an 18-point lead, but, bro, be up by 9, be up by 8, be up by 10. Especially if you have that, not bringing it all the way down where they tie the game or we're only up by 2 points or some shit like that, and then you got to rely on your defense to kind of bail you out. Because even in that game, Bam killed it. Bam had 31 points, 13 rebounds, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Like, you know, like you said, Oladipo played well. He had 15 points that game. Tyler was 5 of 9 from 3 that game. We should have kept that lead. It shouldn't have been as close as that game was. And the score will kind of mislead you, 110 to 100, but those are free throws at the end, right? That kind of push it. These guys are shooting threes to make the game closer. They're missing, and then we get another free throw. So yeah, the 10-point lead looks nice at the end, but that's not how the game went. Same thing with the Lakers game. You know, you beat the Clippers and you're like, all right, well, now we're going to face a team that's depleted. We just got a victory. Get our confidence up. Let's go in there and get a victory against this weak-ass Lakers team. Dog.
What happened there, so?
Completely gave the game away, man. End up losing 112 to 109. And more than that, you know, we let one guy kill us in the fourth quarter. This dude had 9 free throws. Dennis Schroeder had 9 free throws and made all of them in the fourth quarter. Made 9 points in the fourth quarter, all at the free throw stripe, which was enough to not only come back, right, because he had a lead, had to come back and put the Lakers ahead, where you got to expect, somebody to hit a 3 at the end to kind of put us ahead or win the game. And that game was tough because we didn't have Hero. His back was hurting. He had spasms, and they kept him out of the game thinking, we don't need him to beat the Lakers at this level, which is true. We don't really need Hero to beat this Lakers team.
How wrong were we?
Not that wrong, because it came down to a last second like type shot, but fuck.
But you don't think that if Hero's in there, it doesn't change it, and it doesn't have to come down to a last second shot?
No, for sure. And look, Jimmy missed the 3-pointer at the end, right? But he still had 27 points in the game. He did enough to win the game. Same thing with Bam. I always feel like if Bam scores 30, like that should be a dub, dog. You know what I mean? Back-to-back games when he has 30s.
But now when we're missing our other leading scorer.
True. But then somebody has to step up. We mentioned
missing.
Oladipo. We mentioned like Strus having a good game here and there.
Oladipo, where he's stepping up, is more on the defensive side, man. Where I've been seeing a lot is on the defensive end of the ball. Making stops, making plays, and then he can still score. You can rely on the guy on a fast break or transition bucket to do something, make the move or whatever, because he's a savvy veteran. But he's still not that scorer that is going to be able to bring that element.
Well, he can be. He can be. And look, you said it. We saw it in the Phoenix game, right? 26 points, highest scoring game of the season for him so far. Second time this West Coast road trip that he had more than 20 points, right? Second time the whole season where he scores more than 20 points, right? But
case in point,
he still got cooked up a little bit on defense by Chris Paul. And Chris Paul ended up leaving the game, which I think is what allowed Oladipo to feel more free on offense, right? To kind of say, all right, I don't have to play hardcore defense now. I can focus a little bit more on my offense. And, the Suns were kind of shorthanded too. No Booker, CP3 left in the game in the second quarter. Like, we should have won that game, again, handedly, Without Victor Oladipo's game that day, 4 of 6 from the three. I think he made 8 of 10 free throws. Maybe we don't win that game. Bam had a modest game that night, 21 and 11. Jimmy, 20 points. He was perfect from the line, 10 of 10. And it still felt like it was close to beat the Suns, right? And we should have dominated them. Scoreline looks like if we did, but we didn't. Didn't close out the game that way. The game still got within 5-6 points with like 2 minutes left, and that's not close enough. That's too close for a good team like the Suns are. And had they been with their 2 prime players, we probably would have given up that game. Mm-hmm. Lucky for us, they've been on a losing streak. I think they've lost 6 out of the last 7 games. Like, they're trending down. They're not doing well because of the injuries.
Yeah, the injuries are hitting. Devin Booker's not on the floor for them.
But if you think about it in retrospect, we could have won 3 games in a row there. But we dropped that game against the Lakers, and that shit kind of kills the road trip. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because then after beating the Suns, you come home and you're like, all right, we did good on the road. We got ourselves back to 500. Let's get the ball rolling. We're back at home. Let's get this homestand kicked off the right way. Facing a Brooklyn Nets team who's been on fire, right? Previous to this game, they've won 17 out of the last 19 games, climbing up the East, literally a game and a half, half a game behind Boston. Like,
KD and Kyrie are looking serious.
Them boys are looking serious since they both are healthy now, right?
Super healthy.
Yeah, well, not no more, because we saw that Kevin Durant kind of knocked knees with Jimmy Butler during, like, I think the second quarter or the third quarter.
It was like Jimmy landed on him. Like,
it was weird.
Durant was like under the rim, and then Jimmy was falling back. Like to the ground, and he kind of like landed on his leg, I think, right?
Yeah, it was weird, man. And when he did go down, you could tell that KD knew immediately that something was wrong, because he was like, I'm not moving. He was like, yo, come pick me up, right? Like, signaling towards the bench like something's wrong here. It turns out to be that he had an MCL sprain. So they don't know how long he's going to be out, which kind of sucks for Brooklyn. Obviously, it sucks for Brooklyn because you gain all this momentum having your 2 superstars, right? Climb all the way up the East, and now you get a kind of a setback, losing KD. And even in that game, they lost KD. We played the whole second half without just facing Kyrie Irving, and he still cooked us. Had 29 points, 10 to 21. Missed a big 3 at the end while in the fourth quarter when the Heat were up, right? We make a big comeback, bring the game up. Now we're up. He takes the 3 with about 9 seconds left. And I'm thinking, shit, this works out perfectly for the Heat, man. We didn't even have to wait. Rebound comes off. There's not one Heat player close to it. Not one, dog. Freaking guy, what's his name? Royce O'Neal. Gets the offensive rebound, goes right back up with it.
Nobody knows who that guy is.
Nobody knows who that guy is.
But the fact that
look, Bam, don't get me wrong. Bam wasn't in there at the end of the game possession because he got hurt, right? He hurt his hand. And even still, he was off. You could tell that hand was bothering him. He missed the 3 free throws that he took. He missed them all, which is very unlike Bam, right? He's trending upward in that free throw percentage. And in that game, it was like, yo, how the hell did we not get a single body on this guy? Which goes back to my point when we talk about what's missing. Size is one of those things that is missing. You know what I mean? Length is one of those things that is missing on this Heat team. Because that's what it was that got him that offensive rebound. And that guy pretty much won the game, because after that, we had an opportunity to take the ball out of, right? There was still like 4 seconds left. I think it was 3.9 if I'm correct. 3 seconds left, more than enough time to get a shot off, at least a dribble, do a move, right? Get the ball into Jimmy's hand, and on the screen, Tyler Hero gets knocked down to the ground. Everybody notices, no foul call. Okay, cool. Now the Heat are down 1. It's 102 to 101. So all we need is a 2-pointer. Ball gets passed into Jimmy. Jimmy has good position, makes a drive, gets hit on the way to the rim. Pushed off, misses the layup. No call. Game over. When I saw that, dog, if my TV wasn't so nice, I probably would have punched my TV.
She would have ended up on Biscayne.
For sure. You know what I mean? For sure. Because that just shows you that the Heat aren't winning that many games this season to earn the respect of the referees to get those type of calls. Not to say that they didn't miss the call. They totally missed the call, right? They totally missed the call. But, Jimmy's not going to cry about it. Hero's not going to cry about it. Spo made his complaints known to the referees after the game, like, yo, you guys missed that. And we should have been shooting 2 free throws, Maybe he makes them, maybe he misses them, whatever. The foul should have been called. It just sucks to lose those games like that, right? But it brings back the reality of this team, that we're too inconsistent and we don't have the ability. We don't have the ability to win close games, whether it's on the road or at home. When we get into a tough position, we fold more often than not. And that shit sucks to see, man. That's why this record is whack, 21-20.
Yeah, that's kind of
halfway into the season.
That's where we've been for the last few weeks here, is just kind of floating around that 500.
Right.
We got to 500. We were below it for a while, and then we got there. Now it hasn't been like a strong surge or a good push to get past it. It's like, no, we're just kind of a 500 team right now,
and we're happy to hang out here. It looks like we're happy to hang out here.
We can hang with the better teams in the league in close games, but like you said, can't close them out.
Can't close them out. And I don't know what else like the players can do, because if you talk about, oh well, what's Jimmy doing? Oh, he's balling. Oh, what about Hero? He's balling. Oh, man, we need more from Bam. Nah, he's balling. The guy just averaged 27 points and 10 rebounds on the West Coast trip. Shooting 59% from the field, 78% from the free throw line. Yeah, you don't need more from Bam. Bam's good. Back-to-back 30-point games? Nah, my man is good. What we need is help for Bam in the paint. What we need is for Kyle Lowry to step up so that we don't have to rely on Oladipo coming off the bench to provide some scoring at that point guard position. What we need is another body that is able to score the ball. Because Strus has been hot and cold. Duncan, hot and cold. Gabe Vincent hasn't even been available as much. Caleb Martin recently hurt. Duncan's going to be out for an extended period of time, right, with the surgery. We need another guy who can score the bucket, and it can't just be Oladipo, because for as good as he looks in those spurts and flashes, it's not consistent enough, He's averaging only 10 points a game this year. Kind of bad. I needed him to be closer to that 15-point a game, especially coming off the bench with what Tyler Hero was able to do with the same opportunity, right? Because there was somebody starting, and Hero had to come off the bench and get all those minutes. Now, Hero starting, Oladipo's on the bench. He's the first one usually getting called into the game. So he needs to be able to produce like a sixth man, And that doesn't mean go out there and score 20 points per game, but fuck. Go in there and contribute, dog. Really contribute. We get it. You're doing stuff on the defensive side. That's great. We expect that from you. This is Miami Heat basketball, where defense comes first. That's the foundation for any player here. But what we need from you is explosiveness. What we need from you is that creative mind that you have, the ability offensively, those skills. That's what we need. Because we're already getting it from our main guys. Our main guys are providing what we can get, and it's not enough. And then we can't ask more from them. You can't ask Bam to average 35 points. You can't tell Butler, hey, we need 10 more points a game from you. Hero, we need you to score 10. Nah, we need the other guys to step up. You know what I mean? We need the other guys to step up.
Yeah, it's tough to ask the guys that are already excelling to do more.
Right?
It's this is not what we saw last year when we were, getting good wins when Bam was out, when Hero was out, when Jimmy was out. We had Gabe Vincent stepping up. Max Strus, where you at, dog?
Where you at,
your
bro?
Your stroke's off right now, bro. And your defense is looking like Duncan Robinson. It's like, what's going on with you?
That's pretty bad, dog.
I mean, we haven't really seen him. He was a guy that we've been able to really, rely on
for sure.
In the last year or so, and he hasn't really shown that this season. Like you mentioned, Caleb Martin dealing with injury and stuff. Our big mans, I mean, Dwayne Dedmon was giving us good minutes last year. He's not giving us those minutes this year.
Highsmith is balling, outplaying him by a lot.
That's my point. So, it's we're still missing something, man.
I mean, we just need more from the guys that we have right now. We need more from the guys that we have right now. For this dude, Kyle Lowry, to be averaging 13 points a game this season, that's almost borderline disrespectful, dog. I don't think he scored 20 points in the last 10 games that he's played. Like, come on, my boy. Come on, my boy. You're out here making all this money, dog. And it's not even about the money for me. The contract is the contract, right? That's not my money, dog. But it's the expectation that comes with it, dog. You need to be able to score points, dog. And if you're not scoring points for us, then what the hell are you doing, dog? What the hell are you doing? You're just out here to pass because you're not even in double average assists, averaging 5 assists a game. Like, if you're not scoring and you tell me, hey, I'm doing the Rondo where I'm giving out 14 assists a game and I'm scoring 7 points here. All right, cool. We'll take that. But that's not what he's doing, dog. That's not what he's doing. And he hasn't been capable of that. And even in the last, like I said, bro, last month in December, 20-point game. On 2 games where he scored more than 15 points. And in this month so far, hasn't passed 12 points. Dog is struggling.
Yeah, we're not too fond of Kyle Lowry.
And it's not the opportunities because he's playing the games. It's not the off-court stuff because he's already settled that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, he's taking a step back. And that shit is really dragging us down like an anchor. He's going to have to step up, dog. He's going to have to step up.
What do the Heat got coming up?
Coming up, the Heat got a little bit of home cooking, right? We got a game on Tuesday, the night you guys are hearing this, against OKC. Tough matchup. That OKC team full of young studs. That his name always escapes me, man. I'm gonna find his name right now.
White boy?
Nah. Dude, he's like the shooting guard. Jesus H. Christ, man.
That's his name?
Yes.
I know a guy.
Yes, bro. No, it's Gilgeous Alexander. That's his name. His first name always
Shai Gilgeous Alexander.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He's a really good player. Young, energetic, has that team with a lot of energy. And that's a team that's doing, not that great. Very beatable team. They're 18-22 on the season. So this is an opportunity for the Heat to get this game. But they're going to have to deal with a guy who can really score buckets and score buckets themselves. Can they do that? I don't know. Bam had an x-ray on his right hand today. It was negative. Maybe he misses this game against OKC. Maybe you don't bring him back until that Thursday game against the Bucks because we play Bucks back to back this week. We have Tuesday against OKC. Thursday we play the Bucks. Saturday we play the Bucks again at home.
Wild.
And then Monday we head to Atlanta.
Wild.
How do you win those 2 games back to back against the Bucks?
I don't know, man.
You got to get the game against OKC. You got to get the game against OKC in order to give yourself a chance to get one of the 2 games against the Bucks. Because they're not going to rest their players. They're on a mission to try to catch Boston. They're on a mission to try to catch Brooklyn. So those guys ain't messing around. You know what I mean?
They got the Greek freak.
And that Monday matchup against Atlanta is tough, even though Atlanta's been kind of off this season, right? Trae Young and the organization not having enough, having those issues, whatever. They're still right there. They're right behind us. They're literally, a game and a half behind us? So if depending on how these next 3 games look, we could be playing for playoff positioning, which is weird as hell to say for this Heat team, dog, because it's so talented, man. It's so talented. And for us to be at this position right now, man, it's weird, man. It's weird. It's not as weird as the Panthers, though. I will give the Heat that. The Heat have not been as bad as the Panthers this year. How crazy is that?
A couple weeks ago, that was a different story. About a month ago, we wouldn't have said that statement.
The only difference is that Heat were dealing with injuries. Now they're not dealing with injuries. Panthers haven't been dealing with injuries. They've just been very inconsistent. And now they're still under 500, 18, 19, and 4 on the season. Even though they've won 2 out of the last 3 games, they're still 5th in the division, 11th Yes, you heard me right. That's 1-1 TH, 11th in the Eastern Conference. This team is unrecognizable, dog. And if it wasn't for Matthew Tkachuk, who got named to the All-Star team, the only Panthers so far to be named to the All-Star team, even though Carter Verhaeghe should have got there, in my opinion. If it wasn't for Matthew Tkachuk, I don't think this team would have even been on the map, because the coach failing or not having the same impact as the previous coach, who was an interim coach, and this guy coming in with a resume from hell and all this stuff. To have this Panthers team under 500, one of the worst defenses in the league, is weird. Weird, because this is probably, obviously not probably, this is the worst season that the Panthers have had in the last 5 years that you and I can even think about, because the last 3 years have been super successful for the Panthers. They've won a bunch of games, moved up in the division, made the playoffs, got to the second round. Moving ahead every season. This season looks like they took 2 steps back, because they're not even challenging, like to say, Kanye, we're in the mix. We're not as good as we were last year, but we're in the mix. This year is like, teams that are beating us are like, yo, they're whooping us. We're not losing 1-goal games. They're whooping us. And when we do win, they're close games. Case in point, we beat Arizona 5-3 at home, right? We had 37 shots. Sloppy play with 20 giveaways in that game. 20 giveaways. Just so you know, right? Just so you know, an average game is like 7 giveaways on a bad day. We in that game 20, and we still find a way to win. But we won because of like I said earlier, our all-star Matthew Tkachuk had a hat trick. 3 goals.
His first as a Panther?
First as a Panther. We made a post about it on Instagram. And without him setting the tone, scoring first in the game, right, and then adding 2 more goals in the second period to kind of put that distance away from us, maybe we don't win that game. And that game was a real team effort, because there were 6 guys that had assists of those 5 goals. You know, in hockey, you can have 2 guys get an assist on a goal. So we had 6 different guys involved in the creation of the goals, which shows you that when the Panthers are fluid, they can't put points up. But the problem is the 3 goals. You know, that's not what we were giving up last year. And in the matter that we're giving those goals up, you know. But you can't blame it all on Spencer Knight. He had 33 saves, including a power play save, which would have been huge at that moment in order to get the victory. You follow that up, and you're thinking, all right, let's get back-to-back wins here. We're facing a Detroit team. We're very familiar. Let's go to war. That game was close. Ends up being 3-2.
Hey, but that's a back-to-back dubs.
Yeah, but look, even that game, we got outshot, right? 31-20. We have 5 penalties to their 1. And all the defensemen scored the goals. Aaron Ekblad had the goal, had 2 goals. Gus Forsling had a goal. And there were power play goals, and that's what made the difference. That's how we were able to win the game.
Capitalizing on power plays.
We went 2 for 2 on the power plays. Detroit went 0 for 5. Had they get 1, they probably tie that game, push it to overtime, and get the point. That separation from when we're leading isn't happening anymore for the Panthers. At least with the Heat, like, you've seen them take leads and go up 15, go up 17, go up 12 on teams. Can they hold on to it? They struggle with that. But the Panthers aren't even putting themselves like with enough space. Like, hey, let's give ourselves a 2-goal lead, a 3-goal lead, win a game 4-1, 5-2. Nah, it's always close. It's always close. And even in that game, like, you know, we tied. It was a tough game. We should have lost that game, and it tied the longest win streak that we've had this year, which is 2.
Hey,
2-game winning streaks for the Panthers this season. Last year they had like 9 streaks of winning streaks.
Yeah, and like different streaks.
More than 3 games.
4, 5.
4, 5, 7, 8. I don't know what. Again, you can only point to certain things that changed on this Panthers team. Then you think about it then you say, all right, well, the Panthers got two wins back to back. Maybe they found their mojo. They've been in close matchups. Let's see what they can do on the road. Go out there and get smoked.
Against what team?
The Dallas Stars,
where do they stand?
They're number 2 in the West. Number 1 in their division.
Just want to get some context.
Yeah, but still, you got smoked 4-1. It wasn't even a game. By the time
4-1 or 5-1?
5-1. By the time we came into the second period, it was 3-0, and the only goal that we scored was off a rebound shot. You know, where Carter Verhaeghe pounced on the rebound before any of the other defensemen could get to it, and he finished it up. Scored the first goal.
The only goal.
The only goal. Without that game would have been 5-0 because it was 4-1, and then they got an empty netter with about 5 minutes left once the Panthers went for it to try to get a goal back or whatever.
Right.
But being down 3-1 by the end of the second, it's like, how does a team that has struggled so much like the Panthers even give themselves the energy or the thought to say, yeah, we can bounce back and get this game in the third period? I don't know. There's no confidence in that team right now. There's no way that they could have confidence. And I'm sure they lack a lot of confidence in the coach too. Because like we knew about the previous coach his name escapes me, but I know that he was just an interim coach.
Oh, Burnett?
Yeah, Burnett. But the players wanted to play for him. The players were surrounding him. They backed him up when the shit went down with the scandal and they suddenly had a new coach within a day. The players responded to him. The players aren't responding to Maurice for whatever it is. There's zero response from this team, and that shit is just awkward for me, man, because this is a team full of talent. You got one of the best forwards in the game right now in Matthew Tkachuk. He makes the All-Star game, top 10 in goals, like in points. Like, what's up? What's up? There's enough talent on this team to be better.
No, here, this team, it's a difference with the Heat. So this is the juxtaposition is that with the Heat, it feels like there's something missing in the sense of like there's another player that's missing. We're missing something else, like another player out there, another body. This Panthers team, they got all the bodies they need. There's just something that's not working right about this team right now. It's not working to its full potential.
Absolutely not, man. And it's very troublesome to see that, right? Because again, we expected the Panthers to have a great season after their run last year, get more talent, get younger, get a little bit better on the offensive side, which is what we were lacking. And now it feels like everything that we've built defensively has gone to shit, and the players don't really trust the coach. Now we're in a tough spot where we're not even in the playoffs right now.
Brutal,
bro. Brutal. Gotta hope that the second half of the season really changes for the Panthers. You know, got a road trip coming up. That shit's not gonna be easy. Like, they're gonna have to play better immediately. You know, immediately. In order to give themselves a chance, right? If this team, let me tell you, bro, I'm seriously considering firing the coach if the Panthers don't make the playoffs. You gotta consider that.
There's a good chance he gets fired before that.
Right? Like, if they're already...
If this gets away from him even more,
yes, you
got to expect that the organization, with the record that they've had for the last few years,
yes,
and with the same exact roster for the most part, and a player like Tkachuk, who's an all-star first year with the Panthers, you got to get that guy out of there.
Absolutely agree with you, brother. Absolutely agree with you. If you're Bill the GM, Bill Zito, he's definitely looking at the coach like, maybe I messed up here. If this guy can't reel it in, and there's 15 games left in the season, and the Panthers are 8 games out of the last playoff spot, that guy's going to get fired for sure. For sure. And he'll probably deserve it. Before we wrap up, man, tonight is the college football championship game between number 3 TCU and number 1 Georgia. You know, I'm a Canes guy. I do watch the SEC occasionally. For me, when I look at this game, I'm like, man, I would really like to see TCU win it since they haven't won it since 1938. Like, a long time ago, you know? And
some teams have never won it.
True. Other teams have won it multiple times, like the Hurricanes. But whatever, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the final game right here of the season for college football. And I personally, when I watch this game tonight, I'm hoping that TCU can pull the upset off, man, because I would love to see TCU make that history, right? Cinderella season, go out there and beat some of the biggest monsters on the field and get that national championship.
So if you're asking me who I think is going to win, you know, I think Georgia's going to win this game. I think they're, you know, a much better program coming off of a national championship already. And, you know, they have what it takes to outright beat TCU. But talking to my friend today, you know, also UCF alumni, shout out UCF. I'm wearing the hoodie right now. Next year, they're going to be moving over to the Big 12.
Yeah.
Which currently TCU lives in. And if TCU were to win this national championship, that would only be, I mean, how good would that be for UCF coming into that conference now and saying, hey, we got to play the defending champs?
Not only that, to say in this conference, if we're good enough, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a small tunnel, Small little light, but we can get there because look at the team that's up there now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So for that reason, I hope that TCU wins it. You know, he kind of swayed me in that direction. If I'm betting though, I gotta bet Georgia. But
yeah, for sure.
If I'm thinking about my alma mater, I gotta hope that TCU wins and bring some positive energy to the Big 12.
Facts. I'm going with TCU because, like I said, man, I want to see the story. I love the underdog story. That shit's always cool to me, man. And I think it's the college football could use some of that, right? A little Cinderella story, and not seeing the same old teams winning year in, year out between Georgia, Alabama, and all that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, time to switch it up, man. Time to switch it up. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And but before I do, make sure to check us out on YouTube. Right now, we've just dropped 2 videos. We got OnlyFans Week 18 out right now. Check that out. And I just dropped a fight rewind with Victor Bermudez. We covered the Gervonta Davis versus Hector Luis Garcia fight. Check out what Vic has to say. A guy's super knowledgeable when it comes to boxing, man. And then more importantly, you got to tell a friend.
To tell a friend.
To tell one more friend.
To tell another friend while they're at it.
To tell one more friend about this amazing podcast. Trust me, guys, we got a lot going on for you, and we can't wait to bring you this amazing content with the amazing equipment that we have. Until next time, y'all, peace.